Hey guys, 42 hours into Stellaris so far. I've learned lots and it's been okay. So the first game I hated, I played on all the default settings and it was too large. You spend too much time colonizing and managing a ginormous empire, and I played on normal difficulty because that's the default, and it was just pathetic. The AIs were all terrible. So I assumed that in order to have mass appeal, they had to make normal difficulty way too easy. So my second game, I set it to insane difficulty, and I played on a medium map size instead of massive map size, and that was much more fun. I got hemmed in almost immediately by a nation that was right here, whom this guy killed, and two nations on my northern and western borders. Some other things that I did to make this game playthrough harder were no warp gates. I feel like warp gates are cheating; they're way too good. Instead, I not warp gates, wormholes. And so I just used warp technology. Um, and yeah, I think I used missiles in this technology. In the first playthrough, I used lasers, and I found that lasers are just all around good against everything. The counter to lasers is shields, but shields don't actually counter lasers. They just kind of absorb a little bit of laser fire and then break, and then you win. So shields don't have a hard counter; they have a soft counter. So that makes not shield. Lasers have a soft counter, so you can spam lasers and you'll be fine. You don't need anything else. In this playthrough, I made missiles, and the counter to that is point defense, and I found that if they get enough point defense, you do literally zero damage. And that might just be because I was on insane difficulty. But I did found that at some point after exactly 90 years in, they were ahead enough on technology that their point defense just outpaced my missiles, and I couldn't hit them anymore. So even in a 5K versus 5K battle or whatever, they would kill all of my ships and not lose any. So it was time to start over. I lost, and in strategy games, I love losing. If I can't lose, what's the point? If I win, and then I set it to hardest difficulty and I win again, I would be done with this game. I would just quit and be like, I guess I win, right? So I have to lose. There has to be a difficulty setting that causes me to lose 100% of the time, or else I have no interest in this game. So I really, really enjoyed smallish map size, and I actually decided that in my third game I was going to use an even smaller map size, because I feel like the smaller the map size, the more fun it is, because colonization is the worst part of this game and planetary management is the worst part of this game. And those are all like staples of the 4X genre, but they're fun in small doses. I love colonizing 2 planets, and I love managing 2 planets and 3 planets, but when you get up to 20 planets, it's stupid and boring and tedious, and everything's the same, and ugh. So my third game, I went for slaver mushrooms because I was watching Arumba's videos, which are obviously awesome because he's a Roomba, and he plays in a very similar style to me, where he tries to figure out the mechanics and test things and get as good as he can and make the game hard enough so that there's a reason to get better at stuff, because if the game's too easy, then you don't need to learn anything. One thing that he does is make a bunch of small sectors, and I tried that in my second game, as you saw, but in the third game I was like, that's stupid. I'm just going to add every single planet to one giant sector, and then I only have to manage my capital, and it made the game much more fun. So I didn't manage any planets except my capital. And then eventually, about 80 years into the game, I deleted... I pulled 5 planets that had already been maxed on pop and managed by my sectors. I pulled them out, and they're now mine. So that way I didn't have to manage any of them on their way up. So I really recommend that. Just make your whole territory one giant sector, and then pull the planets out once they're done being developed. Then you don't have to develop them yourself. Again, this time instead of missiles or lasers, I went for the third weapon type, which is bullets. And again, in a large fight, but the bullets, I just got out teched by my neighbors. So you can see, first of all, you can see that my tech is crazy low, right? I'm making 70 plus 100, 170, almost 200 minerals per month. But 122 of that is going towards ship maintenance, because I have to keep my fleet super large because it's insane difficulty and everyone around me has ginormous fleets. Same with energy. 109 goes to station maintenance, but 52 goes to ship maintenance. So you can see my neighbors have an overwhelming tech lead, because probably... I assume insane difficulty already gives them a tech lead, and then on top of that, they're probably not emphasizing minerals the way that I am. Like, basically every planet that I have is optimized towards getting as many minerals as possible instead of getting tech, because I need to have a big enough fleet just to not die. You know, this isn't actually my third game. This is actually like my 12th game, and in many of the other games I died almost immediately just by not emphasizing minerals heavy enough. So you can see there are planets that are basically doing nothing. This whole planet is being wasted because it's just generating some teeny tiny amount of minerals instead of tech. And this is in order to survive, but it's a bad long-term strategy. It's a great short-term strategy. Let's just get as many minerals as we can and make as big of a fleet as we can so that we don't immediately die. But in the long term, you fall so far behind on tech that even if you have a bigger fleet than them, you still can't kill them. So I did kill 2 AI nations, but at this point, all of my neighbors have allied each other, and I can't ally anyone because insane difficulty gives you a minus to allying people. These guys are cordial, wary, wary, unfriendly. Anyway, but even if you found a friendly guy and you click communicate and you mouse over alliance, oops, sorry, I picked a bad guy. Alliance. You can see that insane difficulty gives you minus 50 to alliances. So I don't think it's possible to get any allies, but even if it is, you can only get one, and you'd have to be way more powerful than them and stuff. So basically, once all the AIs start teaming up, it's I don't know. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's certainly impossible to do it with the strategy I'm going for, which is falling way behind on tech and using a giant army. Mommy is at Nana's. She's not coming home today. I love you. Anyway, I want to show you battle, just because falling behind on tech has this predictable result. So let's declare war on somebody whose fleet is about the same size as mine. We're just going to vassalize them, confirm, and then we'll take our whole fleet and just jump over here and see what happens. Alright, and set it to fastest speed. I always play on fastest speed, and I don't feel like it's fast enough. I wish the game would be even faster. And all of the... That's great, Nora. In all of the other Paradox games, they have normal, fast, and then fastest, where fastest just goes as fast as your CPU can handle, right? So fast is 2x normal, and maybe faster is 2x that. But then at some point, they're like, if you have a good enough CPU, you can go at infinite speed. And I don't think they designed this game that way. I think there's a max speed, and you can't go faster than it. And that's frustrating to me, because I'd love to go faster. So I've got a 4-star general who has no traits, and I feel like that's terrible. But whatever. And we're going to go bait these guys, right? We're 13k to their 13k. These are 2 different nations. They're allied together because all of my neighbors get to ally with each other. And now we're going to retreat to my home world and try to bait them into fighting me in amongst my defensy things, whatever those defensy things are called. So here comes these guys, and it looks like I'm not going to make it to my home world. We're just going to fight here, but still, it's better than fighting in their world. All right, this one. Okay. So it says that our strength. Now this just tells you the amount of hit points that each fleet has. So we have roughly the same amount of hit points left. This is how close you are to being completely dead. If you have a ton of shields, that doesn't get counted here. It just counts hull. My dudes are all using level 3 large, small, and medium railguns with a little bit of point defense, lots of shields, some regenerative plating, and some ceramic metal armor. And Mr. Enemy Pants, guys, I don't really know how to check. I know how to check when I'm not in combat, but I don't know how to check once you're in combat. I don't think you can anymore. But anyway, you can see in the very opening stages, my large railguns are doing okay. But look at this 14% hit rate. I basically miss every bullet I fire, and their evasion rate is like 100% against point defense. I guess that just means they're not shooting missiles, so they don't have any missiles, so they're evading all of my point defense. But how am I only hitting 14% of the time? You know, like something about their technology is allowing them to just not get hit with bullets. And look, it's going on and on and on, and I'm doing 0 damage. No damage. So once I kill a couple of their weaker ships, then I no longer hit them. So we started with 13k for me and 11k for them. I actually have a larger military score than them, but they're consistently doing damage with their lasers, and I'm not hitting them. with my one bulletin tins. So the guns that they're using that do the most damage seem to be small plasma accelerated lasers. But even their gamma lasers and their particle lances are still hitting me. I think those are whatever. Anyway, point is, if you neglect your technology in order to have a large army, it will work great for the first 90 years or so. But at some point, they're going to get technologies that make them immune to your army, and then you lose. So far, I have survived 90 years twice on insane difficulty, and I've never survived past 90 years. I mean, obviously I could live for a much longer because they're not going to attack me because my army looks scary, even though they're immune to it. But I've reached a point where it's impossible. And I think I need to try again with laser tech and see if that does anything, because I feel like laser tech isn't completely counterable, whereas the other techs are. Bullets obviously seem completely counterable because we just saw them be completely countered, and obviously point defense completely counters missiles as well. Whereas shields are just more of a soft counter to lasers. So I'm going to try again with lasers, and I'm going to try to get my technology much higher because I completely neglected it getting up to 25, 34, 23 by 90 years in, and I'd like to see that be closer to like 60, 60, 60, or at least pick one tech. Like, I think missiles come from the blue tech, and bullets come from the yellow tech, and I'm not sure where lasers come from, but I'll pick whichever one lasers come from. It probably comes from blue. Physics. And specialize in that and just try to get my laser tech high enough so that I never get outclassed by the enemy. But anyway, good news. Stellaris isn't as stupid and boring as it looks when you play it on normal difficulty, normal map size. So if anyone has watched streams of Quill and Arumba doing awesome things and been like, this actually looks really tedious and stupid, you're right, it is. Don't play on normal difficulty and don't play on large map sizes. And then suddenly it becomes a great game. So good luck. Have fun.